Hey guys, so I got a real gem for you today. This is a Generation 6 454 big block Chevy. Now, this thing is a real sweetheart. It's got 260-ish thousand miles on it. Very, very low maintenance. Rode hard, put away wet. It was in a well driller's truck. Surprisingly, it did run before I pulled it. But we're gonna tear it down today and check out the inside, because I would really like to do a series on this, doing a budget 454 build. You can find lots of videos out there on it, but with what I think is, you see guys do these budget big block builds and they say, oh yeah, at the end of the day, you know, we only had $7,000 into this project. And yeah, that's in some guy's budget, but if you're like me, it ain't in yours. Vice Grip Garage did a really good one, and I think at the end of the day he only had about 3,500 bucks into it, which is a really good price for a big block Chevy, but we're gonna try to do it a lot cheaper than that. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to pull the plugs out, because that's a pretty good way to get an indication of what the inside looks like. So we're gonna So the first thing we're going to want to do is pull the intake off. I got this specialty tool here. There we go. So by the power of persuasion, I ended up getting all the boots out. So we're going to pull the plugs here. Oh yeah. See if we can get a focus on that. No? Well, I'll tell you what it looks like. Actually, it don't look too bad. I mean, this thing ain't a complete pile of crap. So the plugs actually look halfway decent. That's 1, 3, 5, and 7 there. There's a bit of grease on that one, but that's just from my fat fingers greasing it all up. So we'll pull the other side and see what that looks like. Second bank of plugs, they don't look too bad either. Cylinder 8 is a little dry and rusty. That's a little cause for concern, but so far they're not terrible. So I pulled passenger side valve cover, rolled her over, and looked at the rocker arms. They all move about the same distance, so that's a fairly good sign. That lets you know none of your cam lobes are completely wiped out, on this side anyway. We're gonna pull that one, see what those look like. All right, I got driver's side off. They all move equally too. None of them are extremely loose, which is pretty good. And actually, it looks fairly clean in here. It's a little grimy, but for 260-some thousand miles, that ain't too bad. So we're gonna pull the intake off, look down in the rocker valley, or lifter valley, not rocker valley, I'm an idiot, and then pull the heads off. So when you're working on these Gen 6 big blocks, I don't know if it's any of the other ones are like this, but there's a hidden bolt back here on the intake manifold, and you got to take that out to get it off. And I know that just because I know it. I didn't just find that after 10 minutes of wailing on it and swearing at it. So I got the lower intake off and the splash shield out, or windage tray, whatever you guys call it. And looking down in here, usually on super high mileage motors or low maintenance engines, or ones that have been sitting for a long time, you'll see a lot of sludge built up down here. This one's got some, but honestly, it's not too bad. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So next step is try to get the exhaust manifolds off. I don't have a torch, so looking at the bolts and studs, it's looking like they might have to come off with the head. All right, so after about 3.2 seconds of decision making, I decided to leave the manifolds on. They're going to just come off with the heads. When I get access to a torch, I'll put them on the bench and then get them off. I got all the rockers and push rods out. All the push rods look good. None of them are bent. They're really dirty, but that's about to be expected. So next we're going to take the heads off, look at the pistons, and then pull the lifters out and look at the cam. All right, we're back at her, and well, you know, I'll run to town, bowl of chili, and an emergency bathroom break later, and well, it's nighttime now. Got all these out, no problem at all. Every single one of these fought me the whole way. 3 of them stripped out, or not stripped out, they rounded the heads off. So they're 1/2 inch. So I just pounded a 12 mil 12 point on it and got them out. Well, I ran out of 12 mils to ruin to doing that. So I went and got more at the old Hobo Freight. Just about to get this thing off, and then I remember, oh yeah, there's a whole nother row of head bolts under the manifold, so that's got to come off. Well, of course, all these nuts that hold these little flappers on there, they're all rounded and rusted off. So I went and got some of these bad boys right here. We're gonna see, hopefully that'll do the trick. Oh, sweet. 2-piece manifolds. All right, so 4 hours and a strain back later, and about 18 ruined bolts and 2 ruined sockets. This thing actually isn't too bad. There's not a major ridge on it. I mean, there's a little bit, but I mean, it's like I wouldn't even worry about it. This one and this one don't have any. That one, I'm gonna say it doesn't have any because I can't see it. Coolant jackets are kind of dirty. She's gonna need to be flushed out a little bit. But I was worried. I wouldn't say worried because I don't really care, but like I was wondering, I'm like, I figured a whole bunch of coolant would have come pouring out of this thing. But I mean, it's bone dry down there. So I did some investigating, and that would be why. That there is your, that's a freeze plug, is what the kids are calling it these days. And it has ceased to exist. So I'm really hoping like the block isn't cracked or anything around it. It's not as far as I can see, but I don't know. All right, so got all the lifters out on this side anyway. Spun the motor over, looked at the cam. Obviously it's got some wear on it because, you know, 200-some thousand miles, but none of them are wiped out. There's no excessive scoring on it. I mean, this thing is pretty dirty, but so far she's solid. All right, so we got the other cylinder head off. Looking down in here, let's turn the light on. There we go. Again, this side looks pretty clean. I'm thinking I could probably just leave these pistons in because they don't look too bad. This motor definitely needs to be clean though. I mean, she is nasty in there. Oh yeah. I don't see any cracks in the block or in the cylinder walls, so that's a good sign. These heads definitely need to be cleaned up though. I got to figure out. I'm really worried about that. I don't know how I'm gonna get that out. I think that's the worst one. There might be one on the other cylinder head that's like that, but this one I'm not worried about. That I can get out no problem. But yeah, there we go. I'm gonna leave the oil pan on it for now until I get a new one because I don't want this thing dripping all over the floor in here. Plans for now, I think I'm just gonna put an intake and a carbon headers on it. I got something really cool this thing's going in. Once I get it all put together and running and everything fit, I think I'm gonna go with a ZZ502 cam, and I think that should be a pretty sweet setup. So definitely stay tuned. You're gonna want to see that. Also, definitely stay tuned in the future. Got a lot of races and a lot of car shows coming up. I'll be at Autorama coming up in March. I'll be at Streetcar Takeover in Michigan. I'll be at Southeast Gasser races in Xenia. I'll be at where else? Somewhere. We'll be everywhere. I'll be at the Hill Climbs in Florence, Wisconsin this year. I'll be at the Mud Runs in Aurora, Wisconsin. I'll be at other places, so you just have to tune in and see. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a good one. Oh yeah, and one more thing for all you Richie Rich pants out there who can afford cam bearings and main bearings. Don't even ask, because we don't believe in those around here. All right, cam bearings are like your credit score or your bank account balance. If you don't look at it, it can't be bad.